Okay, so our whole entire unit right now is rational expressions. So one of the things I want to ask you is, what is a rational number? What is a rational number? A fraction. Anything that can be made into a fraction is a rational number. So that in mind, a rational expression is anything that you can put algebraically into a fraction. Okay? So your entire pretest that you did was made up of rational expressions. Today, what we're going to be covering is how to simplify rational expressions. I can't write today, apparently. How to simplify rational expressions. You can't even see it. So, the other thing we're going to be talking about starting 2 days from now, so starting on Friday, we're going to be multiplying rational expressions. And then we will be dividing them. And then lastly, we're going to do some work problems. And that has to do with this. And we'll get to that next week. So those are the main components of this unit. We will take a test at the end of that. And then next unit will be some finance stuff. Okay, so just to let you know what's going on. So today, let's first of all look at the number 4 over 12. How would I normally reduce this? Divide by 4, right? Yep, so I'm going to divide both the top and the bottom by 4. So when I do that, I have 1 over 3. Another way to think of this is if I were to actually put these all into their prime factors, I could write this as 2 times 2 over 2 times 2 times 3. If I did that now, I can actually cancel the pairs. And what would I have left on the bottom? A 3. What's left on top? A 1. And make sure you understand that just because I crossed out the 2's doesn't mean there's a 0 there. It's a 1. Okay? So 1/3. That's another way of doing this. You can think of it that way. Okay? So that is the basis of simplifying a fraction, but now we need to simplify a rational expression. This is the same coefficients on this. So we have 4 over 12. We already know that that settles down to a 1 over 3. We just did that, right? What do I have left on the v's? Well, one way you can think of this is I have a v times v, and then on the bottom I have 4 of them. So I could cross out 2 sets of v's, and what do I have left? Yep, I have 3v squared. Okay? Because I have 2 of them left. Oh, you're right. I messed that up. Should be 6 v's. Thank you. So it should be the 4th. Yep. Had a moment. Okay? So, one of the things that you could write them all out like this and cross them out. Or you could also remember the rules of exponents. And if you have x to the 5th over x to the 2nd, how would I actually find my answer on this one? I'm going to subtract the exponent. So it'll be x to the 5th minus 2 or x to the 3rd. Okay? The other thing you could look at, say if I have x to the 2nd over x to the 5th, this is switched around. I would have x to the 2nd minus 5. It's a minus. Or x to the minus 3. What does that mean? If I have a negative 3 in my exponent. Yep, it's going to be 1 over x to the 3rd. Okay, so those are 2 basic rules that you guys should remember for this unit, okay? Any questions on this particular page? Give me a thumbs up if you feel like you're ready to go on. All right. Okay, I have 3 other examples here. These are a little bit more complicated. And remember from last unit, when you have a perfect square and a perfect square in a binomial, and you have a minus sign in between them, what can you do to factor that? What's that called again? You guys remember? It's called difference of squares. All right. So what am I going to do to factor this one? X minus 4 and x plus 4. Good. And I have an x plus 4 already on the top. All right. So notice that because I have a whole x plus 4 on the top, just like the bottom, I can cancel those 2 out. And I am left with 1 over x minus 4. Now, before I go any further, I want you to look back at this part right here. Tell me some values of x that are not possible in this problem. What cannot x be? It cannot be a 4. Why? Yep, then you would have the bottom be a 0. What else can it not be? It could be anything greater than 4, it's okay. But there's 2 values that it can't be. So I could put in 4 for right here and then I'd have a 0. What would I put in this one? No, a negative 4, yep. So it can't be a negative 4. So when you write your answer down for your homework tonight, it's going to ask you to simplify it, but then it's also going to say list the excluded x's. Okay, or list the excluded values. That means what it can't be. Okay? I have a quick question before I go any further. What if I had x minus 2 over 2? Could I reduce that? I've seen this over and over again. Do not get into this. Why can I not cross out that 2? Yeah, it's not a factor. Well, it's negative, but it's not a factor of x minus 2. If I could draw it out, say like I had, so this does not work. But if I had 2x minus 2 over 2, what could I factor out of the top? I could take out a 2. Then I would have x minus 2 over 2. Or x minus 1, sorry. That should be a 1. And then I could cancel the 2's out. But I cannot cancel them out in this case. Okay? This is a common no-no that happens a lot. So please do not do that. Make note of it to yourself. I see it over and over again. All right, I still need a pen. All right, so let's look at the next one. What can I factor out of the denominator on this one? I could take a 10 out. So if I take a 10 out, what is left on the inside? X minus 2. Now, what can I cancel out? Yeah. How many times does 10 go into 20? Twice. So I can make this a 1, and this becomes a 2. So what I am left with is 2 over 1 times this, or just the factor x minus 2. Okay? What can x not be? It can't be a 2. So I put it x equals, that should have been a not, by the way, up there. So it cannot be 2. Okay, that's the excluded number. Okay, on this next one, I had meant to put like a x squared here and then an x, so I'm going to put that in. first step when you're factoring is to find the greatest common factor. Okay? Is there anything I could take out of the denominator right now? A 4x. Let's do that. So if I take out a 4x, I am left with x squared plus 2x minus 6. Now, this is a 8x squared, sorry. Question, can I factor this further? What method would I use to factor that? Box. Okay, so let's make a box real quick. See if we can factor it. We have an x squared here. We have a minus 6. So if I multiply x squared times minus 6, I have a minus x squared. 6x squared. What are my factors of 6x squared? We could have a negative 3 and a positive 2, because remember, if this is negative, 1 has to be positive. So if I add that up together, I end up with a negative 1. That doesn't work. I can have a positive 3 and a negative 2. Well, that doesn't work either. I can have a negative 6 and a positive 1. Negative 6 plus 1 is a 5. That can't be it. And same with positive 6 minus 1. So I don't have any options here. So I really cannot reduce this any further without a quadratic formula. On these expressions, we will not be using the quadratic formula, you guys. Okay? So, now we've determined that we cannot factor this any further. What can I reduce here? I can take out a 4, and this would become a 4, and the x's disappear. So I have 4 over x squared plus 2x minus 6. What can x not be based on this right here? It cannot be a 0. Okay? It also cannot be another number which we'd have to put into the quadratic formula to find, and I'm not going to make you do that right now. Okay? So whatever comes out of the quadratic formula, it can't be that number either. But this is good enough for me for today. Any questions on this? All right.